My name is Carl,
My name's Oscar,
and this is Who Would Watch This?
where we review bad films and decide who would watch this.
Well, apart from us.
Okay, Carl, what are we going to be reviewing today?
Today we're reviewing Dolittle. It currently has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 5.6 on IMDb, and a 2.1 on Letterboxd. Oscar, what's the plot?
A physician who can talk to animals embarks on an adventure to find a legendary island with a young apprentice and a crew of strange pets.
As if in their own review because considering the doctor's not in the title of the movie.
Yeah, it's just...
Fucking say he's a doctor in the synopsis then.
No, he's a physician. Is he? Well, he's just a vet. That's it.
But like, then why was he I don't know. First fun fact though, did you realize the original title was like The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle?
Oh, because...
And then it got shortened to Dolittle.
Why?
I don't know, maybe they cut out a lot of the voyage.
I guess because it was a boat, so I was like, oh, it's kind of like...
Yeah,
a
it takes
pirate.
them ages to get to the boat. So, I don't know, like...
Maybe they were like, this is a 2-hour film. It's only a voyage for about an hour. I guess it's a Dolittle film.
I feel like Justin Timberlake came in and was like, get rid of the voyage of Doctor. It's cleaner.
It's cleaner.
Dolittle.
Should we do Dr. Dolittle?
No.
That's already an Eddie Murphy film.
Oh, how different. I almost wish I sat down and watched the Eddie Murphy one.
I've never seen the Eddie Murphy one. What's the sort of... Is it he's an animal rescuer as well?
I don't know, I haven't seen it for such a long time. I get it very confused with the Nutty Professor.
Yeah, he's just kind of doing...
He's
wearing a lab coat.
I remember in the third one, it's like his daughter. She talks to the animals.
God, it's so lame. All right, let's jump into the plot. Just a quick note. One of the production companies is called Perfect World Pictures. That made me laugh.
There's a lot of production companies before this
so
movie.
Many.
I was like, it's about to start. It's about to start. It's about to start.
Oh, we get a fun little weird animation thing. I was quite hopeful. That wasn't too bad.
I will say, I feel like it's an absolute trend in a lot of the bad movies that we're reviewing, that they start off with like the plot of a better film.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, but this is what we're following. And I'm like, you're promising... I'm like, you had a strong female protagonist with an actual charismatic character who went around saving animals in the seas, and Antonio Banderas was the father and a pirate.
Yeah.
And you went, let's make him mopey and kill her. let's not really even hire an actress. Let's just kill her off in animation form.
Oh, it was much easier and much cheaper. Women are very expensive in film, as you know, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. That's because there's only none in this movie.
Hang on, the Queen was in bed.
Oh yeah, she was. I felt awful for her because she's like from Chernobyl, and she's the current like.
Oh, she's from Chernobyl.
She's the lead. She's the lead actress of the current Charlie Kaufman movie too. And I'm like, embarrassing. That you would just lie her down in a bed until the very end of the movie.
What a paycheck. So easy. Speaking of paychecks, Robert Downey Jr.
Shall we go through the ridiculous cast that this movie has?
Yep, let's do it.
Alright, I'll rattle it off. We've got Robert Downey Jr., Antonio Banderas, Michael Sheen, Jim Broadbent, Jesse Buckley, Emma Thompson, Rami Malek, John Cena, Kumail Nanjiani, Octavia Spencer, Tom Holland, Craig Robinson, Ralph Fiennes, Selena Gomez, Mauritian Cotillard. Oh my god, she was in this?
Oh yeah. She was the dragon, I think.
And that makes sense. And of course, my favourite, Jason Mantzoukas.
He did pretty...
He's the such a high point of this very low film.
And he's such a dumb animal. He could have been like the flies from that zebra movie.
Racing Stripes?
Yeah, he could have been that, but he was... Him and Michael Sheen, every time they're on screen, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Right. Michael Sheen is carrying so much of this. I was like, why isn't he Dr. Dolittle? He's doing an incredible job.
I love he just every 5 or 10 years takes just a wacky villain and saves a film.
I'll tell you what, he saved a fucking franchise in Twilight.
Oh my god. That final film, honestly, if you've never watched Twilight, skip everything and watch just that one, be as confused as you can be, and just watch Michael Sheen end it on such a note. Oh my god.
Michael, oh god, he's good.
He's so good.
He's an absolute talent. He deserves Oscars and just everything. I love him dearly.
I absolutely love him. I recently watched 7 Days of Hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's this seedy English talk show host, and he keeps just groping Jon from from Game of Thrones. I just love him so much.
He's got that cigarette. He's just.
He's got like a crippled hand.
And he's so sweaty. Oh god, 7 Days of Hell is such a high recommend for me as a tennis fan. God, okay, so I think before we like really jump into it, shall we discuss Robert Downey Jr. like as a whole?
Okay.
So like, you a fan of the Marvel films?
I'm like indifferent, which makes me not a fan, but which is
you still seem to have watched nearly all of them.
I've seen like about 20 of them. They all sort of blur into one. They're fine, but they're just, they're that.
But Robert Downey Jr.?
I've sort of watched them out of like sequence, so I never really got the like. I watched Iron Man recently, so I never really got why he was so loved. I get it, but nice send off of like a 12-year career. Is that?
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's very charismatic.
Yeah,
he is.
And
I don't know where that is, but like,
what do you mean in this film? He's hid it in between the Welsh.
So much Welsh. His idea too. Like,
what
we're gonna get through it. I've done so much research for the movie. So much of the reasons of like this movie's dismay is just Robert Downey Jr. said so. I'm
so keen. Let's just go through the plot and you interject with just like fun tidbits of why the film took this path.
Yeah.
So we've got this. So again, we talk about this. We've got this weird animation sort of opening. It's him and his wife saving all these animals. It's become the colourful cast.
Yeah.
Very exciting. The girl just dies from trying to find a journal at sea. Is that how she dies?
No, so I think it's her journal, and she was looking for the Tree of Life?
Yes, okay, yes.
I think.
Because then...
Yes, because it's the daughter's journal, and that's why Antonio Banderas is like, you can't have it, because you fucked my daughter.
Exactly.
Though Antonio Banderas, I'm pretty sure, is like the same age as Robert Downey Jr. Like, I don't think... I think they're both like in their like 50s.
He was Spy Kids. He was like 30. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
he's got sort of this like grey sort of like hairdo going on. It's okay, but yeah,
I thought he looked great. I was like, look at you, Antonio.
Yeah, there's certain actors in this that I'm like, oh, thank God you guys are here. But also take a paycheck, but then some others.
I feel like Antonio was like, cover me in so much makeup. Nobody thinks I'm in this film.
Because wasn't last year he was in a film that like should have won an Oscar? He should have won an Oscar. Was that last year?
Yeah, he's great in Pain and Glory.
That's
like,
it,
he's really, really good in it.
He was just like, cover me up. Maybe no one will notice.
Yeah, it's like, this was his Norbert. If had this released, it would have been like... Because this movie got delayed like 9 months.
Really?
Like, because of reshoots. But like, it should have come out, I think, it was supposed to come out against Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Did it not?
No, it came out in January. It got like postponed like
this
a little
year,
bit
so
again.
it's a 2020.
Yeah, it's from this year. Like this, like
so an Oscar nom, maybe.
God, I'm trying to think what you would nominate it for because it's definitely not visual effects.
I felt bad for Sia because she has an original song at the end.
Yeah,
I was just like, no, I don't think so, Sia.
I think the executives finished the movie and went, only one person can save this film. They were like, or like an executive was like, this movie needs like a strong female voice because you've got none of it in it.
Let's put it at the back of the film at the credits. That counts, right?
So we then are like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is in a depression because like his wife. I was like, can you imagine if like this was the movie and the movie ended on the wife dying and him like getting that necklace? What like a moment that would be if that was a full feature.
That'd be
collecting those famous animals and like that's how you start a franchise.
Yeah,
they wanted this to be a franchise.
Did they really?
Yeah, this is like
of course, the kid he must grow. Oh god!
But you also don't throw like $175 million behind like a non-franchise.
Exactly.
175.
Did he really want to join another franchise after Avengers?
I think it was a case of, well, at least is what like Hollywood Reporter has kind of said, is that it was like you scratch your back, I'll scratch scratch your back, you scratch my back.
Gotcha. So Disney was like, so did he want to do this?
This is Universal.
Universal, sorry.
And I think Universal was like, if you do Dolittle, we'll fund a pet project.
Okay.
So I think it was like that. And he was also like, pay me $20 million.
Damn it. My god, he is so disgustingly rich because of those Avengers.
He is. He's got like money. Can you imagine having so much money if in the morning you went, I'm just not going to get out of bed?
Why would I? I've made more money on interest.
Yeah.
than people making their lives.
I'm going to put that Infinity War money in the bank and compound that, baby.
That's my job.
So we get introduced to the little boy.
Yes.
Little boy running around.
Do the accent, Carl, because it'll be better than his. Hello, I'm British, and I'm going to shoot a squirrel, but I don't want to.
I feel like they were like, please, Tom Holland, be in this movie. And they were like, no. And they just got a picture of Tom Holland and put it up to little boys around England.
Do you count?
Can you be Cockney? Who else has played Oliver?
That's the criteria. If you have a little chimney sweeper hat and you clean the chimney, you can be in this film. But then Tom Holland does show up as a dog.
Oh, I love it. Do you reckon they walked around just clapping at children and waiting for somebody to reply to the name Stubbins? Stubbins!
Who's Stubbins?
That's the character's name, Stubbins.
You're joking. I've just written down boy. I thought
It's Stubbins.
Stubbins.
Because I cackled. Because they introduced themselves. The little girl's name is Lady Rose, and he was like, my name's Stubbins.
Oh my god.
He's caught in a net. I'm Stubbins.
This is getting half start. Stubbins?
Yeah.
Why bother? Oh my god. And then Doolittle's name's John. Like, they obviously knew the names were in this world. God fucking damn it.
Oh my god. Anyway, so Stubbins is out there with a gun. His dad's like, start killing things.
Yeah.
He's like, no. And they're like, no, your brother's going to go over there and yell, duck.
Yeah.
A ton until ducks fly.
Why not?
I love it because he yelled duck and he shot a squirrel.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah, because he averts his like shotgun to not shoot a duck, and then shoots a squirrel, which we then find out is Craig Robinson as a squirrel. I didn't like his bit. Yeah, it kind of droned on. He was kind of doing this like, I don't know, this like tortured animal in the corner that wanted revenge for the whole thing, and it didn't pay off.
There's weird, very weird, and we'll get to it. I feel like Craig Robinson is a huge part of the reshoots.
Really?
That's my feeling, because his comedy is very, very in time with the multitude of people that all had to like put a hand in on this script as it continued. But I'll get to that a little bit later.
Oh, I'm so excited because I just want to say I've done no research for this. That's not me being a bad
It is you being a bad host.
Exactly. I didn't watch the film. I'm just looking at your notes upside down.
I've done it in Braille for you, and you're just feeling out the movie. So the boy accidentally shoots a squirrel and is like, oh, I'll follow Emma Thompson's bird or whatever it is, to Doolittle's place. He goes into this sanctuary, which I think he should be very frightened of.
Yeah.
Just wild animals all around.
And terrifying, like polar bears and stuff.
A polar bear comes at him, and I wrote this down because he says, good dog, be a good doggy, to a polar bear.
Yeah. And like I was like, oh, maybe it looks like but it doesn't. It's a bear. It's a very big white bear. Why would you think it's a dog? Ridiculous.
He ain't. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
But stubborn.
Yeah, Stubbins. I love it because we just get so obsessed with any of the words that are like, Tubbin, Stubbin.
What a weird word.
Woo. Note, and this is a huge thing that I'm going to keep calling out. Note, he cannot talk to animals.
No. Oh, we'll get into Robert. Their talking mechanic. I've never seen, what's the guy from Grown Ups that's Adam Sandler's friend that's in a movie called The Zoo?
Oh, the zookeeper. Kevin James.
Yes. I feel like in his one, he can just magically talk to animals. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. So it's like animals are basically just like, oh, we have the ability to talk English.
Cool.
And you're a sad human being that doesn't look like he can't get a date, and we're going to help you.
I would prefer that.
No. I'll tell you right now, the zookeeper's much worse than this.
Okay, fine, but I would prefer that mechanic of talking to animals rather than Robert Downey Jr. coming out of a meth dream, speaking in just like tongues of dang dong jing jong bong, and then it transitions to
perfect English.
Perfect Welsh, which is not perfect. Sorry, every Welsh listener out there, it's a bad language.
Oh, God,
and Robert Downey Jr. is doing it.
He said he said in an interview he YouTubed the accent. Just YouTubed weird doctors with Welsh accents for the accent and mimicked it.
If you're listening at home, Google that. Tell us what you find. I can't imagine there's loads of resources out there.
I feel like there was nothing came up and he went, then I'll be my own YouTube clip. So if an actor wants to do this, they could go straight to Dolittle.
He has a YouTube Shout out Robert Downey Jr. with like 20 subscribers. Hey guys, just gonna be doing some monologues today.
Hey, welcome to RDJ Does Accents. Today I'm going to be doing a perfect Russian. Here's my friend Kenneth Branagh to help you along the way in a perfect Russian accent. So, my first note is...
Your first note?
I'm sorry.
Your first note? You were going,
No.
this feels perfect.
Absolutely not. He's not well. Robert Downey Jr. is not well in the film.
No.
His animals dress him as like slaves, and then he uses other animals for chess, which he's basically like the Queen in Alice in Wonderland, and I think that counts as a little bit of slavery for
I
the
think
animals.
so. I mean, in that film, it's treated as what an awful, evil queen. He's loved by these animals, even though they kind of like...
I don't think these animals should... I think I'll be pointing out a lot. He's pretty abusive to the animals.
I think so too.
I would not let him help my dog. I'll tell you that. Wouldn't let him do it.
What if your dog is Tom Holland, you don't let him near Dolittle?
Oh,
That's
absolutely not. I love it that he's like, all the animals have like weird little things in terms of like, this is what he's fixed about this animal. And it's like, he's just put glasses on a dog.
Is that? Oh yeah, of course. Because then John Cena's a polar bear, which wasn't. Sadly, he wasn't as good as I thought he'd be. I really.
What do you think he was gonna do?
I don't know. Something fun. What's it called? Jay from Big Mouth. I forgot his name. Jason
Mantzoukas.
Did a lot with his character. I feel like a polar bear that gets.
Yeah, I feel like Jason Mantzoukas is like also just like a random insert.
Oh really?
Well, I mean, he's like. So just buzzing around scenes.
Yeah,
like
true.
it's very rarely is anybody just like that.
To address you.
Yeah, it's more like he just happens to be there. So I think Robert Downey Jr. should be pretty embarrassed.
Yeah, this is atrocious. I mean, I'll give him this leeway. He must have been acting in an empty room for most of his scenes. Until the boy shows up, it's just him alone in a room.
And Lady Rose, who also somehow just gets into the garden. Yeah, she's just there.
Well, we find out she's the princess. Why send her as the messenger on this dangerous mission?
And there's nobody guarding her.
No.
What if she was killed on the way there?
By a polar bear. What if she just ripped?
Hey, it's a good doggy. Alright? Not a polar bear. Thank you very much. So I think it's pretty clear Robert Downey Jr.'s, all of his lines are like, ADR.
Yeah, there's so many scenes where no one's on screen talking.
Yeah, and his breathy Welsh, quietly spoken voice is just in the background, like floating around, or simply not syncing up to his mouth.
No. But you don't notice because it's Welsh. You kind of go, like, maybe that's how they do talk.
You mean a Welsh person and their mouth moves out of sync to the noises they make?
It's that bad of a language.
I love the idea of them being like, we're going to pay you an exuberant amount of money to be in this film. And he's like, cool, but I'm going to be Welsh.
They're like, God.
Fucking hell. Knew we should have gotten Chris Evans.
Chris Pratt. 2 years ago, this would be Chris Pratt.
Oh, for sure. It definitely would have. So, 10 minutes into this movie, I'm going to be doing a thing where about every 10, 20 minutes, I'm going to be comparing this movie to the director's last film, Gold.
Fantastic.
So, this is a character drama director who did Syriana, which is about terrorism with Matt Damon and George Clooney. Got George Clooney his Oscar. You did Gold, which is his current one, with Matthew McConaughey. He won an Oscar for Traffic. He wrote Call of Duty, Ghosts.
Have you played Call of Duty Ghosts?
I haven't played Ghosts. I played the one with Kevin Spacey, where he's the villain.
I think that's...
I don't know which one that is. Used to play. Like, that was big. You played COD.
Yeah, so what you're saying is this man should have no right directing this animal-driven...
No, he absolutely should not. So at 10 minutes into the movie Gold... Matthew McConaughey lies sweaty on a couch in a near single take with the narration, I lost my house. Started living in this house with Kay, but we're going to lose that house too. I've had half a gallon of alcohol. Shit, most people would be dead by now. 10 minutes into...
I'm not even joking. Is that the plot of Dolittle?
Yeah, 10 minutes into Dolittle. Rami Malek screams, and the boy screams like a little girl.
No, but hang on. Robert Downey Jr. does look like he's drunk way too much. He should be dead. They are going to lose the house.
Oh, he is doing something that I'm sure like is on the level of when Johnny Depp like rocked up doing his weird sort of thing for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And so as a director, you'd be like, oh, it could work out.
Yeah. Should we put some animals in there? See
Yeah,
what
like
happens. Let's put a duck in there.
I think the whole thing is like Robert Downey Jr. is at such a high point career-wise, you don't say no to him.
No.
So there's just weird stuff about that.
And I feel like Marvel, even he couldn't really get much input. I feel like the level he's at, Marvel is such a massive, like, complex. You just can't, maybe you can get a bit out, but I feel like there's, like, a swarm of producers going, no.
It's like, have you ever seen Robert Downey Jr.'s, like, awards drama, The Judge?
No.
Oh, okay. There's just, like, a subplot that I feel like is him. I don't know if he inserted it. It's just weird and doesn't suit the rest of the movie. But it's him trying to figure out whether or not he's maybe fucked his own daughter. It's so, like, weird in this courthouse drama with, like, Vincent D'Onofrio and all this stuff. And he's just like, oh, are you maybe my daughter or not? Just throughout it. And it's...
Is it played for laughs?
Yeah! And I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very.
He was like, alright, done the daughter fucking
And
thing.
I think it ends up being his brother's half-daughter. It's weird. It's a weird stuff. I honestly think that movie would be much better if you cut out the near... I'm going to say 25 minutes. That takes that. So much of the movie is that. There's a compelling thing about whether his father has, like, intentionally killed a man who's been, like, a judge for a long time.
Yeah.
A great hook. And he's had to come to town to be the representative of his own dad, and they have a bad, restrained relationship.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and during all of that, he's like, I think I maybe fucked my daughter.
I love that they just don't it's like this plot.
Yeah.
They just go, we've got a great plot over here. I don't want to do that. What? I want to go talk to animals. Not Tom Holland, though. Yuck.
So if you're wondering, wow, I don't know why they got this director to do this film. No, that Universal thinks that too.
Oh my God, are you joking?
So because when the original cut of the movie came out, it not only had little to no comedy in it, it also had, like, very few shots of the CGI animals. So it was a Dr. Dolittle movie, barely without the animals, that was mainly about a father-son relationship getting over the mother's death. Because it was rewritten that Stubbins is his apprentice and not his son. And that's a reshoot.
You're joking.
Yeah, and
So, oh my, it's explains so much.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, he abandons his father and brother for just, I want to be your apprentice.
No, it's not his. I think it's his, like, he has there's a weird line by the dad that's like, I don't know how your sister put up with him. So I think it's the mother, I think the sister died, this is the son, and that's why he doesn't fit into the family.
Gotcha.
I guess. So
that's absolutely bonkers. Like, I can't believe.
So that rewrite was done by...
Oh my God, you've done so much.
That rewrite was done by Chris McKay, who did the Batman Lego movie.
Oh, absolutely adore the Batman Lego movie.
So he was brought in to insert comedy, and him and Jonathan Liebesman, who did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film and the upcoming Halo television show, had to do the 21-day reshoots on the movie. Because the director had also not taken into account anywhere where the animals should go. So he did very little prep work and told Robert Downey Jr. to keep track of where his animals were mentally. So there is actually a scene that I noted where he talks to Emma Thompson and his eyes are just fucking darting around. Because he wasn't given a frame of reference.
All right, fair enough. Now, Robert Downey Jr. is expelled of all criticisms. The man was acting with nothing and was told to be acting with nothing.
Yeah. So...
He's done a fantastic job.
So it's clear because this director has very little effects. Like, he's never done a movie with lots of effects.
Yeah.
And so there was a rant on Reddit by somebody that worked on the movie that, I mean, you can take it as fact or not, but he just took the director to town. And he speculates the director was fired after an angry outburst where he was unhappy that the effects people didn't put in a talking goose where they wanted a talking goose and punched a television over it. At which the producers had to intervene and say, the director will no longer be spending time with you. he will talk to the head of your department, who will talk to you on where to put the animals. He also said, we'll figure it out on the day as to where the animals would go, even though they would have upwards of 30 shots to do in the morning. So the animals are just weirdly inserted into places to just keep them on screen.
My mouth is literally like open. What? These awful films. I wish to God there was a documentary crew following it. I could imagine that be the titular moment where a man punches a TV over a goose.
Do you reckon there's like a Hearts of Darkness or something like that version of Dolittle?
Oh my God, I wish there was. So he was fired before the reshoots. Is that the sort of the timeline?
So he didn't come. It's speculated he didn't come back for the reshoots before they were able to bring on the Chris McKay and Jonathan Liebesman. They reached out to Seth Rogen and the writing partner he had, Brandon O'Brien, for Bad Neighbors and Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Yeah,
where they tried to fix it, but then ultimately had to leave. Chris McKay left just as the reshoots were being done, so his main contributing factor is, he said, changed the son to being an apprentice, at which then Jonathan Liebesman then went and shot it.
Okay, that explains so many... It's like, I imagine this film... Oh, God. I'm like blown away. This film just is so broken, and you can just see where they fucked up. Oh my God.
And it's projected to have a $75 to $100 million loss for the company.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though it made like an extra $75 million.
Yeah, well, I mean, after like
advertisement,
and the fact that like the studio only gets half of that like money because cinema gets half of it. So, you know, and then there's just deals in here, there, marketing. So what I'm hearing back end.
So what I'm hearing is Robert Downey Jr. rocked up, did a Welsh accent, got paid $20 million, and everyone else lost.
Yeah, pretty much. No. I think a lot of the winners are the people that Rami Malek won an Oscar, did this for 20 minutes, and then fucked off with a big paycheck.
God,
so
fantastic.
Anyway, we'll get back into it. So the Queen is sick.
Yeah.
I've got more.
I'm so excited because I just go, this is so stupid. You go, here's why. And it's worse than the film.
So I would say a huge issue is the fact that the animal effects are so, like, not finished. Right?
Yeah.
They move, like, cartoonish. And I went, wouldn't it be more charming if the whole movie was done, like, Mary Poppins cartoon style?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that would be cute?
I think so. Would it make... But cartoons don't make that much money, though.
I'm not saying the whole movie's but I'm like, it's... All the animals... Like, yeah. But the animals are cartoons, like the penguins are.
Like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine... I feel like that would work... But, like, if you're not going to be able to actually make them look like real-life animals...
No. I mean, like, it's hard because they're more animated than The Lion King. I'll give them that. The Lion King looks more impressive.
The thing is, it's like what makes them cartoonish is they've given them human expression.
Yeah.
And then the issue with The Lion King is that they're so photorealistic, they can't give them human expression, otherwise it would just look weird.
Yeah. Which one's worse?
I think The Lion King's more boring.
Yeah, I think so.
Lion King's so fucking boring.
It's like 2 hours.
Oh, it's so long.
Yeah.
I don't know how they took that 90-minute tight little cartoon and they went, here's another 40 minutes. Like,
where?
I don't know, just scenes will go on for longer. You know that mouse that Scar plays with? Just a minute shot of the mouse running. Anyway, we could go on about Lion King, but we won't. The Queen is sick. Robert Downey Jr. starts doing CPR to a shot squirrel. I don't know how that makes sense.
Oh, that was that was the part of the movie where oh no, where he just mouths a squirrel. And it was just a bit of a Welsh noise comes out, and I was just like,
a bit of a Welsh noise.
you just feel defeated. I've just written squirrel CPR hate.
I like that the little boy's like, oh, he can talk to animals. I want to talk to animals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, fucking no shit. Everyone wants to talk to animals. Like,
I don't know why, but then he learns. I hate the teaching of. I hate the premise that you can. I just hate the mechanic of talking to animals because it just means that for the rest of the film, we just know in the back of minds Robert Downey Jr. is going, and the boy that's all he's hearing.
Well, so I have a huge issue that keeps popping up for me, and that's at the beginning they establish that Robert Downey Jr. speaks different to the mice than he does to like the gorilla, but the gorilla and the mice can communicate to each other, and then he simply talks normally to a group of animals, and they all understand him.
Yeah.
So they make the rule that it's not like he can speak in general to animals, and all animals speak the same language.
Yeah.
It's that each species of animals has a different language.
Which is why
then they break the rule minutes later.
Why set up this weird... Because they do, like... It's like a 5-minute sort of thing. Like, here's how it works, and then throw it out
they're
the
like
window.
going to go through a window, and
Yeah.
and they're like, look, now you can hear it the way he is.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's...
ridiculous. I just hate it so much. Why not just keep it that he can just talk?
Yeah.
Just be magical. I wouldn't mind that.
There's just, like, weird gags that I feel like are so... like, could be funny under different circumstances,
Definitely.
and that's why I feel like that's the Chris McKay stuff, because it feels like it's poking fun at the actual material.
100%.
So there's a part where he's like, "Ooh, that's the last time I let monkeys read the contract,"
yeah.
and then there's just like a whip pan to like just CGI monkey. It's not funny,
No.
but I can imagine it being funny under like
100%.
different circumstances.
The range of comedy in this, it's not like it's like broad comedy, it's just very niche comedy, but every niche comedy you can think of, which doesn't really... no one likes that.
Yeah.
It's not...
And then just an Oscar-winning director just being like, I'm gonna get the fucking human drama out of this.
But if he's done that, it must be so like driven with the... But I swear Robert Downey Jr. forgets the boys there most of the time. So
Oh, for sure. Like I feel bad for the boy. I feel bad for like any young actor that's like, you're going to get to be in a movie. And they're like, wow, I've never been in a movie before.
Yeah.
And you're going to act alongside Robert Downey Jr. He's like, wow, I've never acted alongside Robert Downey Jr. before. And then it's like, oh, you're in Dolittle. And he's like, oh, it's a good IP. I like Dolittle. And then it like comes out and it's like ruined. And like nobody's going to hire that fucking kid again.
No, exactly.
And I mean, he's fine. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to diss on the kid. Like,
Just real quickly though, you are doing a better accent than him. So just want to...
oh, is that mine? Yes, well, he's him. It's a lot of Z's, right? Isn't that the British slang? You're British. To do with the Z's.
Zess.
Zess.
That's quick.
Yaz. So the animals are like, we have to go save the queen, otherwise we're going to get kicked out.
Yeah, that's
and then they start revolting against him, and I wrote it was frightening.
Oh, terrifying. They're like, you looking shaggy. Let's grab Robert Downey Jr., tie him down, put him like an oxygen...
They gas him!
They gas him.
Oh my god!
Then they start giving him a makeover, but my god, it would have been way better if they just killed him, used him as Weekend at
Bernie's.
Weekend at the Bernie's in for the whole rest of the film. A much better film.
Oh my god, that's a movie. That's a $175 million movie right there. On another note, these kids have no fucking manners. They literally...
What got you that point?
What? They walk around the house. He's like, can you get out? And they're like, no. I'm like, no, get out of his fucking house. You're not welcome here.
Oh yeah, no, the boy is inviting himself in and was also now like, I want to be an apprentice. And I get now the rewrites have like made it so he has to do this, but why would he was like, I'm going to leave my father, I'm going to be an apprentice of Dolittle.
I think
just met this man.
The huge issue is like, one, Dolittle himself's very unlikable and is mean to the animals and the kid.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's trying to tread a fine line of like, in the first Iron Man, and Robert Downey Jr. is not sympathetic, but he's kind of charismatic and fun.
Exactly.
And then he slowly becomes sympathetic. And they're just not doing that well. I think the other thing is you don't need the kid in this movie.
No.
Definitely he's put in there as like the bland surrogate so that kids can be like, look, I can be...
Yeah, the point of view character.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
But it's like, you don't fucking watch Indiana Jones and are like, I want to be the kid in Indiana Jones. I don't want to be Short Round.
Come on, that's the best one.
I want to be Indiana Jones.
It's that. But like, if you take him out, what do you lose?
Like... somebody needs to catch the Tree of Life berry to squeeze into the mouth of the queen.
Worst thing. I hate
So,
the berry.
like, you can't cut around that.
You can't cut around that.
I would say the reason the reshoot of like whatever the kid's involvement in the film is like they couldn't just cut the kid out.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody went, could you cut the kid out? And they went, no.
God, how much would you like be crushed if you had done a whole film? Like, you're the secondary character. They went, we cut you.
Oh
from
god,
the edits.
it happens all the time. Like Terrence Malick movies.
Mm.
Do you know? And it's like Christian Bale or somebody will like rock up to like the premiere, and then they'll be like, I'm fucking not in it. And Terrence is like, yeah, I felt like I didn't need you. And it's like, whatever.
It's my name.
Yeah, like you've used, like you're selling, I don't know. It's like Ethan, there's like the remake of Total Recall, and Ethan Hawke is like in that and was paid and is in a lot of the scenes. And he's just cut out of that film.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird.
I guess as a paycheck, but as an actor, you must be a bit like, I mean, you'd probably be chuffed that you got cut out of Dolittle. But you'd be like, what am I?
Yeah.
An editor watched me. That was my entire performance.
Yeah, an editor went, God, it'll work so much better if you're just not in this. God, it's got to be demeaning. Like, it actually has to.
Yeah.
I get it's, like, probably, like, the screenwriter's fault or something like that. The fact that an editor can be like, if we cut this out, the movie doesn't change.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, they'd be like, oh, but also, like, your performance just doesn't contribute to this film. Anyway, I guess they like fucking go see the Queen. Kamal Nanjiani's an ostrich. I like the ostrich because it actually acts like an animal. It's my main point. None of the other animals act like they're animals.
What, you mean they're like sort of quirks? Like the
yeah, like I like the ostrich kept on like shoving its head in the ground and like...
What a weird compliment to give a film.
I'm stretching. Like, I'm like, you know, I want films to be good.
Yeah.
I love a good film. And I'm always like, oh, imagine if I watched this movie for the podcast and I just love it.
Yeah.
And I didn't waste my time watching it.
Have we had that so far? Money
Cat
Plane's
in the Hat.
The Cat in the Hat we've loved, and I think we went, we're going to get. But Money Plane's probably the closest to like a film I'm like, is that really it?
I don't think Money Plane's good.
I mean, it's good. It's just the one I've enjoyed the most.
God, we've got so many more to watch too. So many more to watch. Oh god, anyway, so we get to like the Queen fucking... Oh yeah, no, sorry. The Lady Rose gets out of the carriage and there's like 90 animals inside.
No.
You should be crushed. You should be dead.
There's a polar bear in that room.
One of them should have gotten hungry.
You know what? There's so much... You know what this film doesn't address? The shit.
Oh, no, it doesn't. There should be shit everywhere.
There should be so much...
Who's cleaning up the shit in the field outside of Doolittle's? It's not Doolittle. He's in a depression.
He's a lazy piece of shit.
He hasn't got a little poop scooper walking around being like, this is where the elephants have shat and like the...
Because there's just so many assortments. There should be so much assortments of poo.
Oh,
and quite frankly, I'm furious that someone didn't painstakingly CGI poo into this scene.
I recently went to the zoo. There's poo everywhere.
It smells like shit.
Oh god, there's constantly poo. It's great. The zoo's the best place to do a fart and blame it on an animal. There's so much shit everywhere.
Because they're literally taking a shit meters away from you. You can be like, yeah.
I love it because, no, they do acknowledge poo and farts and stuff. We just haven't gotten to the climax yet.
I can't believe that. What a segue. Anyway, so our main issue is that the princess should have been shat on and crushed. but she wasn't.
The princess should have died instantly. Instantly. All of the animals should have gotten out of the carriage, and then all of the guards are like, and welcome Lady Rose. Lady Rose? Oh no! Oh no, Lady Rose!
Oh god! But then Robert Downey Jr. jumps on the ostrich, causes
again. That's fucking abuse.
Yeah.
The ostrich is like, I don't want to be ridden, and Doolittle's like, I'm gonna ride you for miles.
Yeah.
Abuse.
Yeah. He has no right. Only because why have these animals here? He's helped them, but it seems like it's like.
Has he?
I don't think he has.
Has he? How does the fucking polar bear get back to the Antarctic from England?
Oh, he's got a beanie because he's.
No.
Gets cold.
He's stuck there. If he ventures out into the wild, they're also like, it's hunting season if we get thrown out.
I'm sure that's a myth he's created. Just leave this premise.
What is this hunting season all year round right outside?
That's right, you polar bear. I'm sure someone's looking for a polar bear to kill.
Anyway, we meet Michael Sheen. He's killing it.
Oh,
He's instantly the villain. No secret about that.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, you don't need two villains. That feels like a rewrite.
That was a weird... Yeah, because it's... The villain is... I can't remember... He's
Jim Broadbent.
Yeah. He's the villain. He's like the one that's poisoned the Queen for no...
I would say, to me, it feels like Michael Sheen was brought on as the villain, and then Jim Broadbent wasn't the villain, and then was redone to be the villain.
Because Michael Sheen does get...
He's like, I have a knife. And then they're like, we've caught you. And he's like, I'll put my knife down.
Yeah, exactly. Because Michael Sheen is gotten rid of... we won't jump... He's gotten rid of very quickly. We'll jump into that. I don't know... Yeah, why... Because he's...
This movie really fucking... we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to the ending,
Anyway.
but I'm like, it jumps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the dog is like, I'm going to sniff what's wrong with the queen.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down one of Robert Downey Jr.'s lines here where the dog is like, I don't know, I do like butt. And then Robert Downey Jr. goes in his Welsh accent, oh yes, you do love butt. And I went,
Pretty good,
yuck.
actually.
I think I nailed it, didn't I? Oh yes, you do love butt.
It's that thing.
It's so breathy and
100
quiet.
minutes.
It's so breathy and quiet constantly. I think we must go on an imperious journey. It's so weird. Like, sometimes it's Welsh and then Australian. Like,
A bit Scottish, because he's done Australian like many times
Yeah.
in films. So I think he just kind of defaults to that as a weird
I love that they're
character.
like, I'm going to do Welsh. And they're like, oh, can you do it? And he's like, I can do Australian. And I'm like, don't set yourself up to do it if you know you're just going to do Australian. Anyway, he then is like, hey, octopus, have you noticed anything weird here? And the octopus goes, in subtitles, snitches get stitches.
That got me.
Fuck off.
That got me.
Fuck off, that got you.
Yep, it got me. I like that. And
No.
Then I immediately wrote boo, commit to the bit, because then the octopus does snitch.
You reckon it cuts and he's had the shit beaten out of him by Jim Broadbent at the end?
That got me. Did that not get you?
Yeah.
That was the one bit that got me.
Oh, God.
You seem upset by me.
I hate that you... Oh.
Yeah, this whole thing of just, how dare they abuse subtitles as a medium, and I've gone, that got me.
The fact that the octopus would say something in old Victorian English as new language and shortened as snitches get stitches to Robert Downey Jr. wearing an eye mask underwater. Can you imagine reading that in a script? Absolutely not.
No.
I do love the fact that, like, Sia would have had to read the script.
Oh my god. Because I think, I can't remember the song is, but it's something like Be Original. That's the name. And I think that was her only compliment for the film. Fuck, it's original.
No, I think it was... I don't think so. I think it was, like, a hint to the producers, like, the original. Don't fucking chase Dolittle again. Like,
just fucking try something.
Yeah.
Something new. I
I
don't
would have
care.
loved if the ending credit song was like, I knew you hated it, but be positive about the film if you're a critic. Give it a great fresh tomato on Rotten Tomatoes.
Meth's then just spilled into the cinema. It's just like, you know, I did like it. I did like it a lot.
They're like, here's your complimentary snort of cocaine for the film, sir. Anyway, so they're like, we're going on a journey. He's like, stubborn, you're not allowed to come.
Oh, yeah.
And then he sulks like he's in Arrested Development.
He does that. Oh.
Just the Snoopy walk.
Dun, 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 dun. That's a subplot, because he gets... No, sorry, that's the best cut in the line, because it's just like, go home.
Yeah, it cuts to him. It's so funny. It's actually such a funny cut.
He's just walking home and his dad's like, should have done that.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in you.
I love it. I'm surprised he didn't come home. And the dad's like, I've got more animals for you to kill. Anyway, so we reached 30 minutes into the film.
I remember looking at the time and going, fuck off.
Oh god, I was constantly looking at the time. So in gold, 30 minutes in, Matthew McConaughey becomes sick from being left out in the jungle. He is abandoned by his co-workers and left curled up in a rug underneath a house. 30 minutes into Dolittle, a giraffe wearing a fox as a hat licks a child's face in the dead of the night.
It's very upsetting. I hate when animals lick in movies. I just really hate that someone had to animate this gross licking thing for like a couple of weeks.
Do you reckon they get like a creep in to be like lick the kid's face so we can capture
it? No, it's just a guy with a sock. He just dips it in lube and he just kind of
wipes it over the kid. Oh god. Anyway, I feel like they clearly add dialogue where the film doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because immediately when the kid leaves, they're chased.
Oh, I literally wrote this like, the script doesn't have a reason for the giraffe chase.
No, so they go, why are we being chased? And they go, any good adventure starts with a chase. And I'm like, I wonder what the original section missing there was. That like I said, I think this movie was supposed to be far more about the voyage.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
and getting it back. It would have been nice. Like, it makes sense. Like, Doolittle's like, go away, but the animal's like, you need to help him. And like, the child helps Dolittle become like recovers over his like grief with like his wife.
Like, what could have happened up at the castle with the Queen that they were like... Do you reckon it was like they didn't want the Queen to be saved? And they were like, get them before they go on the voyage? Maybe?
Saved. Maybe, yeah. That could
But I don't know why you'd cut it. Because then they do it later, and then like Michael Sheen go after him, and then Michael Sheen's meters behind them, and it's like 9 days, like distance though. Yeah. It's bizarre.
You're completely right. Yeah, because anyway, then they get to the cops just give up, and then they get to the boat where Robert Downey Jr. is just set sail.
I do love the fact that the kid is like, I'm going to jump down on the boat. And Robert Downey Jr. is like, well, I'm not going to look or help you. And then the squirrel endorses his suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Wild. I cannot believe that's in this.
I really don't get this, like, plot point of the squirrel is just like, because he constantly is just like, I want to murder that guy. I want to murder him. But, like, in such a weird, like, a Shakespearean sort of, like, acting way. It's very strange.
That's why I feel like a lot of it's just, like, because Chris McKay, a lot of these voice up, like, the comedy actors... They're in with the Seth Rogen, Chris McKay crowd, who were a lot of them were voices of side characters in Lego Movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why they're there, like brought in.
Yeah, just kind of like add a little something, just riff.
Yeah, like especially because I feel like in the voice booth, they're like, can you just riff for some comedy? And it's essentially like getting free paid writing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. We might use it. I can't think of really any character that tonally works. I can't think. There's a lot of jokes that really just go nowhere.
Jason Mantzoukas kills it. We haven't got to him. Jason Mantzoukas kills it.
That's right, actually.
Anyway, so I think Dolittle's a bad person. He's like, kid, you can stay on the ship, but you're going to have to clean this up, and starts making mess and pulling stuff down as a power move. Oh, you're a fucking awful person.
He's a fucking atrocious man.
He then grabs a bird and throws it overboard really harsh. Like, I'm like, fuck off! You're such a bad character.
To make matters worse, the bird then flies back and then's just like, Sugar, why'd you do that? Let me give you a little haircut and start biting.
And that's the same one. Like Robert Downey Jr. has no idea where to look. Don't think about it. He's just fucking like, darting around, and they're like, "There's a bird around you," and he's like, "Where?" And they're like, "Around you."
Doing
what? I could be more specific.
Do you think that's what the haircut bit was? Because it seemed very strange.
I think you could be right there, because it makes no sense.
Because they've done a makeover already. So it's like, why would he need a haircut? And this bird's just kind of...
Yeah, because also I think his dialogue might not acknowledge the haircut.
Yeah. It's such...
Do you reckon they don't have to CGI his hair?
They must have, yeah.
Weird.
Because they cut, but there's nothing, like, noticeable. Like, it hasn't, like, lost, like, a moustache or something. It's, like, just a trim up with no context.
It's weird. We then go into a montage and do little, like, boxing animals, and just the kid getting better at talking to animals, and just weird CGI inserts of just animals. Like that's the part where I think clearly they were like, put in more animals.
Yeah, exactly. And then so it's nighttime on the boat.
You know what the other thing is I'm like, I bet a lot of the stuff that they've added with the kid is so animal heavy, because it's much cheaper to get the kid back for the reshoots than it probably was to get Robert Downey Jr.
Of course.
Who's probably doing other work and other requirements.
Of course. And, like, you've already paid him, like, I'm pretty sure it'd be disgusting to do, like, reshoot, like, a reshoot salary doing the film again. They'll just, like, go, he's on the poster, that's enough.
Yeah. Like, it's, you know, all movies do reshoots, but it's, like, very, like, the fact that this was a reshoot where they brought in a whole new creative team, that's what you don't want.
No, exactly.
Anyway, they get into a chase. I don't know why a lot of what happens in here, but they call a whale.
Oh, well, is this before they have, like, the flashback of his... Like, they kind of intersperse the wife coming back, don't they?
Yeah, they twirl in a CGI environment.
Yeah.
It really helps his character, and I think that's what makes him so relatable. Yeah. Because constantly, I'm with my wife twirling.
But she also has the worst. I don't know where they both... She has this hideous accent that's just like, I love you. I love you, Robert Downey Jr.
They were for sure like, you need to match Antonio Banderas, your father's accent, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Welsh.
And she's like, fuck off, I'm being in a flashback, that's it. I'm not doing this for a whole year.
She was like, I'm going to open and close my mouth, and you insert the voice that you think seems fit.
And somehow it perfectly captured it. Yeah, so Michael Sheen now is like, it's now day. Michael Sheen's like, I've got them in my sights.
Yeah. So they call a whale. The whale's British. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't, because I like considering where they are out in the water. I don't know
Oh,
why you've
yeah.
got a British whale.
I don't know why there was so many. Everyone had different accents.
Yeah, all of the animals had different accents,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like they had to do with the environment where they were from.
No.
It was just like the polar bear's American.
I felt
Why?
a bit. I'm not gonna say racist, but it felt a bit weird that the duck was sassy. It just
Poor Oscar winner Octavia Spencer
Oh god.
hasn't been given a good role
Mm.
since winning that fucking Oscar.
Sorry, dab. This-
Oh, I know, right? Can you imagine? They went Stubbins, Jip, Dab, John.
God, I hope she got a big paycheck.
Oh, I think so too. I'll actually be making a giant push to be doing an Octavia Spencer film in one of the weeks where I get to pick a movie. So
fantastic.
you should look forward to that.
I'm very excited.
Because I think it is the performance of her career, and it's just a terrible film.
Is that the one where she gets those kids?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah,
I saw
it's
the
called
trailer.
Ma by Blumhouse, and she's unbelievably manic and amazing in it. And there's not an ounce of material or anything else behind it that like
It's just her
matches it.
holding up.
It's just her holding up a fucking movie for 90 minutes and her just doing wacky shit. I couldn't love it more. It's terrible. Cannot wait to review it.
Fantastic.
They call a whale. They then
No, go on. That's enough. They call
oh,
a
God.
whale.
Oh, I've written Robert Downey Jr. in a scuba suit is a travesty of filmmaking. His CGI'd face.
What I thought was they just got B-roll from the Iron Man shoot, inserted it into that because
But like widened it.
yeah, just widen it.
He looked bloated and weird and stretched.
I don't know why he got down there. I don't know because the whale he like got the net for the whale to jump in, but I don't know why they had this. Why he got in? I'm so confused.
They were like, we want Robert Downey Jr. He was like, I don't want to come on set today. And they were like, all right, I guess you go overboard for the day.
Just holds a phone up to himself. All right, I'm in my scuba suit, and that'll be enough. You guys can use that what you want with it.
Oh god, I cackled at the boy explaining him hearing animals.
Oh god, I felt so bad for that
Such
boy.
bad writing. It is. I hear the birds and they go twat 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 twat, and that's how I know they want to be fed. And then I hear the bear go rah, 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 and I know that that's like clearly there's not like a dialect or somebody wanting to. You know how it's like they could totally just record the sounds of the actual animal and put it over them syncing it so it sounds like they're talking animal.
Yeah,
But instead they just relied on the kid being like imitate a bird, and he was like tweet tweet tweet. And they're like, imitate a bear, and it's like, rah, rah, rah.
I felt so bad for him because it was just like, here's a page of some of the worst writing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
And then
in front of Robert Downey Jr.
And then I feel bad for Robert Downey Jr., who then has to go, yes, you're getting very good, but there's more twang in the twerp.
Oh, it's such a painful scene. I hope everyone got paid a lot.
Anyway, the narrator then goes, they're on an
There's
island.
a narrator.
Oh, yeah, right?
It's a narrator that
Yeah.
threw up. I'm like, hold up.
The narrator's literally like, okay, so they're on an island and they're breaking in. And I went, what?
Yeah, because it can be segmented into 30-minute parts, like I mean, first, second act, but I wouldn't call max.
Oh, they're like, honestly, they're like, because I've written down the timestamps, they're pretty much like 15-minute little vignettes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is them at the beginning, this is them at the Queens, this is them on a boat, this is them on an island, this is them getting back, this is them with a mysterious creature. I don't want to spoil.
Don't want to spoil it.
Anyway, so it cuts 50 minutes in. Jason Mantzoukas is negotiating with ants and sugar cubes.
I didn't mind it.
Oh, I thought it was totally fine.
Because it's pretty much like getting cucked by these ants. One of the ants' daughters. He's like, come on, why won't you touch me?
I like, right? And he's like, what, they love a bad boy?
Was he a scorpion? Got a big stinger?
What does he have that I don't have with his weird fucking eyes going out? I love it. And I feel like it's just Jason Mantzoukas, like, riffing.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Oh, God. I also think it's funny because he has not once spoken about the fact that he's in this movie on the How Did This Get Made podcast.
No. Which is, and it's definitely viable for
Yeah.
that. So, like, what's going on? That
You feel like as an agent, they'd be like, hey, can you tell everybody that you're in that new movie so fans of you will go and see it? And he's like, nah.
I opened myself up. Do you think he did a clause, like, in his thing, do not talk about this on the podcast? They must have. When it was kind of tanking, they went, hey, sign this if you want to get paid.
Anyway, 50 minutes in, which I thought was really interesting, into gold, McConaughey starts a long con at a junket that also is a little bit like negotiating with the FBI. And I thought, how interesting.
Disgusting.
They're doing a little bit of tit for tat. It's really weird. I'm not even fudging this. I'm like, these are two things that happen within the 50 to 51 minute mark.
Did he just replace gold with Dolittle? Did he just type and text Control F, Dolittle, dab dab? He was just smashing his keyboard like, wow, I've got a script, what do you think? We'll get it made. That's very weird. Strange he did that.
Anyway, the kid talks to the dragonfly, which I don't think makes sense, because how has he learned dragonfly? I think they also want to kind of go with the conceit that the dragonfly's been there the entire time.
Yeah, because he's kind of like got rapport with him.
Yeah.
And like, hey, dragonfly.
And he follows them around the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But it was my assumption he was just there.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
It's... Because they meet him. You're right, yeah. It seems like they're friends. They've been around for a bit. It's very messy. I don't know why. Anyway, so the dragonfly's like, hey, you want to find that book you just mentioned? Cool, let me show you.
Yeah, they're like, get a journal. I'm like, wait, this is what this is about now?
Yeah. It really
okay.
jumps. It's just like...
He's literally scaling a building. They're on a boat and he's scaling a building now.
And we just have no context. Anyway, so the dragonfly's like, go find the journal. It's with Antonio Banderas.
And then they're like, sneak in. They can't. He gets put in a cage with a tiger.
Yep.
The tiger's voiced by Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, God. We've just done I was like, oh, no. Why didn't they use Ralph Fiennes in this awful movie, Holmes and Watson? I now know that they are goddamn gods for not making Ralph Fiennes speak, because this tiger bit...
Oh, it's so bad.
I feel so bad for him.
Oh, is this our first recurring actor? Whereas Ralph Fiennes been in 2 WWWTs?
Yes. I like that you had to
He gets an award. Let's give him the WWWT 2-timer award.
I hope he doesn't show up again. I really like him.
Do we pivot into only doing Ralph Fiennes films? That'll rotten.
Oh, God, there's only 2, I hope.
Oh, you clearly haven't seen insert film later, Oscar.
I'm gonna be so cool with that. Anyway, so why is this tiger so horrendous? Like, because he's meant to be like the sort of, hey, this tiger's gonna eat you. Also, Will Arnett's a rabbit.
Yeah.
For a scene.
And he's uncredited too.
Yeah, I think
he asked to be uncredited.
Really?
We didn't ask to be. He's just like, I'm just doing it. They actually also cut out another character in the scene. That the tiger actually has a wife, and they cut out the wife. So it was actually very common for, after months of planning with creature designs and inserting them into the film, the director would come in and go, I don't want them in the film now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is atrocious. I can't believe that.
So the person on Reddit said he would literally throw away hours of work at a minute's notice.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, so...
Wow. Also, just thinking, if this is like the Lego Batman people, do you think they'll just record? Like, do you think Dolittle been made for so long?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I mean, the Patton Oswalt talked about this in a stand-up bit that I like, because Patton Oswalt did a lot for animated films at Pixar, and he was kind of given Ratatouille as like a thank you.
Oh, nice.
So he would rewrite comedy on Pixar films. He'd be like, the hardest thing was they'd be like, hey, can you make this more funny? And he's like, cool, what if they say this? And they're like, well, it's already animated. And he's like, oh. And they're like, so the lines that you add will only be off screen. Like, so I think, so I feel like it's like so much of the comedy they could add apart from the 21 days of shooting is like just weird little quips and sides. Like,
yeah, I guess Will Arnett's character is literally just, there's a rabbit. No one really acknowledges him. Yeah. He's just in the corner. I think someone off screen says, look, there's a rabbit.
Yeah, right? It's like,
so
that's the weird stuff. And I'm sure, because I feel like Robert Downey Jr. and Ralph Fiennes have 2 very different conversations.
They do.
So I think it's just, they just have to change the mouth movement on the tiger and get Ralph Fiennes to say something new.
Because he sort of is flip-flopping. He's meant to be this like vicious tiger, but then I think Robert Downey Jr. had he'd been giving him therapy.
Yeah.
About...
And then abandoned him in the middle of his therapy because he's got ill will towards his own mum.
I think so.
Ugh, it's terribly
messy.
bad writing.
Honestly, Ralph Fiennes saying mummy, just like...
Oh god, so bad. The
Right.
dragonfly then is like, I'm gonna go tell the animals.
The parrot.
Anyway, and they're like, oh, we need to go save him. And I'm like, it's too little too late, he would have been eaten.
Oh no, don't worry, Carl. The polar bear commits, what have I got here? Terrorism. They blow up the castle with dynamite.
I love it, because during this, Antonio Banderas turns to the child and is like, you're mine now, and paints him.
Oh, yeah.
He marks him.
He marks him. He doesn't take off the makeup for so goddamn
Oh,
long. It's
no.
like, but yeah, no, the child's like, he's so persuadable, and now knowing why, it makes sense, because he's meant to be a different character. But he's just with him. He's like, well, those animals are kind of nothing to me now.
Do you want to talk about Rami Malek's character arc as an ape and how he saves Dr. Dolittle?
Oh,
He overcomes fear.
Was that Rami Malek?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I could tell. Oh, yeah, it's...
I think it was Rami Malek.
Listen, I'll take it. Anyway, so this gorilla's arc is that he's scared of everything, but you don't really know that. Anyway, he sees that Doolittle's about to be attacked by a tiger. He opens the bars and then kind of...
We don't even see him open the bars, it just cuts back to them being
Oh,
open.
yeah, I'm sure they went, fuck, how do you get through the bars? Went, oh, goodness. All right,
Yeah.
cut away to the bars. But yeah, they have this fight, and they should have been ripped to shreds. There should have been mountains of blood. I'm not saying I want it in a kid's film, but come on, it's a gorilla and a tiger. There should have been bloodshed everywhere.
Look, I'm sure by now you've listened to our Beverly Hills Chihuahua episode. We do condone animal violence. We think if you're going to put a tiger and an ape in a movie, use real animals and see what fucking happens.
And fuck it, have a little bet on it. See what happens.
Just a little bit.
How
If
often-
you've got two cocks, male,
Yeah.
attached to the body of other males, and they're fighting, having a gay old time, bet on it.
Bet on it.
Bet on it.
Ridiculous. Who do you think would win, actually, a gorilla or a tiger? Because I was going to try and Google this, but I felt a bit wrong. Do you think...
I think the apes like rip people apart.
Yeah,
don't they? I think an ape
think
would win.
so.
I think it's medically accurate.
I think so. But yeah, he kind of just softly hugs him. And I'm just, why have this? Just do something like, I don't know, he drops a chandelier on him. Like something...
Well, he gets kicked in the balls.
Oh, God, sorry,
and Ralph Fiennes says the line, "My Barry Barries."
I'd actually erase that from my mind, Carl.
"My Barry Barries," he yells. He screams, and this theatre actor with his Oscars has to read the line, "My Barry Barries."
So angry. So angry that Rami got an Oscar and Ralph Fiennes got just a...
I'm saying it now, if you're associated with this film and you have an Oscar, it should be stripped from you. I am sorry. It should be stripped from you, and you know what? There's probably like 9 Oscar winners working on this film.
There's 5.
All of them should then give it to that little boy, because you've ruined his hopes and dreams of becoming an actor by
100%.
putting him in this film.
Let
He
him-
deserves 5 Oscars for putting up with your shit.
They get to record in the studio. This boy did so much work. At least Robert Downey Jr. got paid disgusting money. This boy got probably paid $125,000.
Oh god, he probably got paid way less.
Yeah.
Way less. He probably, you know what? And also because on top of it, he's losing out all roles in Hollywood as a Tom Holland type to Tom Holland. So,
Who is just a fucking dog. I mean, I haven't said anything yet. I really hate... I don't know what it is.
Jip.
I don't
Why
know-
do you hate Jip?
I don't normally hate Tom Holland, but just him with those fucking dumb glasses. I just want this
It wasn't Tom Holland that went, I want to take some creative liberties here, and can we put goggles on the dog? And the director went to meet you halfway, glasses.
That's how he does every decision. I don't know, half. All right, let's do it.
The Robert Downey Jr. was like, "Oh, can I be Norwegian for the film?" Welsh. I love the idea of the director walking around, just clicking and clocking and pointing at people.
Just random decisions.
Yeah. I love it. They'd be famous people like, "Oh, can I do a paycheck?" No. Gonna cut ya.
You're done. See you later. Kick to the book.
Anyway, the ship's destroyed by Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
Michael Sheen. He goes away with the journal to go find the Tree of Life. We then have 2 of my favourite lines in the movie. I don't know if you took note of them. I fucking adored them. The ostrich, Kumail Nanjiani, says, "I should have been an omelette." Which
that's my point. No,
no, at which no, I'm not. I'm saying that these are like atrocious. I'm like, they're my favorite lines, ironically. Yeah. To which John Cena replies, "Yeah, well, at least your dad didn't go out for a pack of seals and never come back."
I sort of heard that when I get the cigarette joke, but a pack of seals? Come on, do a bit better.
So, that's their...
there was also...
They bond over the fact that their fathers hate them.
Yeah.
Wild to put that into a movie. Because to which Robert Downey Jr. then turns around to all the characters and goes... And just lists their character arcs.
Oh, God, it's weird, isn't it? You're cold.
Yeah. He was like, you two became friends. You overcame fear. You became an apprentice. And it was like somebody went, oh, you need to list the fact that there was some sort of thematic work tried in this movie.
I love just a panel of people with notes going,
yeah.
Oh, no. So real quick, there's an orangutan that shows up.
I wrote this down too. Steals the show. An amazing, incredible performance.
I genuinely missed it.
You blink and miss it.
I saw an orangutan. Like, did he say a joke?
Where did he come from? How does he know to already speak orangutan? Where does he go after? Why does he show up? So many questions. I want his movie. Put him in the sequel.
Yeah, so he shows up. Did he say a joke?
Oh, he goes, he goes, I'm not well. And Robert Downey Jr. turns to him and goes, there's no fixing that.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the gag.
Was he
Somebody spent probably like $40,000 animating that orangutan.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more actually, because I recently watched the Florida Project and I heard the director talk about it. A rainbow costs like $50,000.
Ugh. So
it probably wasn't a good size of budget. And then another character that I thought was going to show up. They get given Antonio Banderas is like, I hate you so much,
but my daughter loved you so much too. Have a ship.
It's a shit one. There's a convict on there. They kind of they undo this like painting. You're blinking, you miss
I remember that. What did that end up being? There was a convict, and then what happens to the convict?
I'm Jeff. Never comes back.
Is that a Man Named Jeff reference?
Maybe. Just thought,
like a decade later.
A long joke, but I don't know. I thought he'd be like on the ship the whole time. I thought they'd get like he'd be sort of like I thought he'd go to stay in shackles. I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. They don't release him. He can't just slide around. He just never seen again.
Why would you keep that? Cut that.
Yeah.
Cut that for time. Cut the orangutan. Cut that for time. You saved yourself $1 million.
Yeah, literally.
They're also like, how are we going to catch up to Michael Shannon or Michael Sheen? God, there's too many people with similar names in Hollywood.
I thought it was I thought it was Mickey.
There's Martin Sheen and Michael Sheen and Charlie Sheen and Michael Shannon and
it's just too many.
Anyway, they're like, how are we going to catch up? And he's like, Wales, boy, Wales. And then it cuts to Wales flipping off.
Yeah,
Mr. Sheen.
And they have this running bit that Michael Sheen doesn't have a chin. And he gets offended by that. But it's not like he doesn't have a chin.
Michael Sheen has a nice chin.
I think it's a lovely chin.
He's got a better chin than I.
I think than most. He's very handsome. But yeah, I don't get that bit. Anyway, the whale flipped them off.
Yeah, and which is the same point in the movie Gold. The director is directing a man who now has a gun to one of the main characters' heads while the other person's on the phone going, "These men are killers." So that's a very similar thematic.
Can we change that for a gun on his chin? And the men are whales.
I know. I think the movies are beginning to diverge.
It's weird.
Because from this point on, Gold gets much darker.
Yeah, so they get to this island.
Oh, they're now at a big cave. And this is where...
Oh my god.
This is where there's so much...
There's so
much to unpack.
There's so much to unpack. Okay, so first off, they get into this... They said they needed the journal to find this island. Mm-hmm. Dolittle just does some maths and they found out. I don't get how...
Or do they follow them secretly? I don't know. My favourite thing is Robert Downey Jr. then touches a rock. Oh. It glows green and I wrote flubber.
Literally, I just fuck off with this green shit. Like, I don't know what...
Did you know this was coming? Because I had no clue.
No clue. I think a lot of people that saw the poster, I don't think anyone could have predicted this.
Oh, absolutely. Unless they were like Fun fact, Dolittle's written by Tolkien.
Because
Dolittle, the destination of Schmaug.
Because they allude, because Michael Sheen's like, a dragon. Like, early on when
Is
it's
he?
like, he says, like, he's reading one of Dolittle's books.
Oh, yeah,
And he goes,
yeah.
a dragon?
Yeah.
How preposterous. And I went, how? How are you going to get a dragon into this? And they don't succeed very well.
Oh, no, they don't. I know, because you start following the green around, and I'm like, what? What's fucking happening?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then a dragon just goes, bloop.
A dragon's there. And by this logic, because then Robert Downey Jr., the dragon starts attacking people.
So the movie becomes suddenly very violent.
Which is incredible, because there's been no real fight. Like, a polar bear and a tiger fought, and they ended in a kicking the balls and a hug match.
It's like, I'm like, oh, so I guess the stuff that Michael Sheen's done condones his character to death. I do love it, though, because there's a very dark joke of him getting saved by Robert Downey Jr. and him going, I'm a good person now, I've atoned for my things, and I'm a changed man.
That's
And then he just gets kicked down a hole and dies.
No, but before that, he pushes a guard, and I was...
Oh, yeah.
I was so shocked by this. The dragon grabs him by the tail, spits acid on him, and then, I mean, it's off screen, but he, like, flames
him, and he
kills him. And then which is like just death, and then Michael Sheen's pushed down a hole.
Or he trips backwards.
I think so, yeah.
I thought he was like, it was one of those false deaths, and then he was going to come back and be another complication.
That's what I thought.
Which maybe is something that happens and they cut that.
Yeah,
because it seems
I
weird.
think they've added this in because it felt so like, Michael Sheen, can you come back for 30 minutes and just fall into a mat behind a green screen?
And he went, no, use my footage from Twilight. During this scene, a duck gets so scared she shits an egg.
So many little bits. All the animals are doing absolutely what animals would do with a dragon. They are losing their shit.
Robert Downey Jr. has no emotion in his eyes when it looks like he's about to die from the dragon. And then the only reason he doesn't kill Robert Downey Jr. is he's like, hey, I know loneliness. And the dragon's like, you do? So do I. And it cuts to this somber image of a dead dragon, which to me makes no sense, because they're next to the tree of life. The dragon died anyway, and they live next to the tree of life.
Why? Because the tree of life brings people back to life. We're explaining this now, but the movie didn't explain that. But what was the reason for the dragon not being able to come back to the life? They didn't have.
There wasn't. They went, I know loneliness, my only companion here in this cave died. And I went, didn't have to.
Didn't have to.
There's a fucking tree right there.
That green, what is the, should we just, what's the fruit, by the way, real quick? It's like I want to say a tennis ball, but it's like.
Looks like a small jackfruit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Looks like
it's kind of like a lychee, but you know the spiky lychee, like the seed of a lychee? But just neon green. Anyway,
I don't love it. I do like the fact that Jason Mantzoukas kills it here and goes, I'll talk to them, we're both dragons.
Oh, great bit.
A killer of a line.
Yeah, and then the dragon smokes him a little bit.
Yeah, and for a moment I went, fuck, have we just killed Jason Mantzoukas?
Yeah, so by your logic, Robert Downey Jr. he learned to talk to dragon. Yeah. But that means that he must have learned every other animal we've talked to.
Well, if he thinks there's a dragon alive, has he met a dragon before?
No, I think this is the first one he's ever met. And he has
then how can he posit that dragons exist?
No idea. Sorry, real quickly, I've just written that someone has a leak.
Oh yeah, that because somebody puts a leak in his bag at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And I don't get the payoff or the comedy.
No. Well, should we get into... So anyway, this dragon's like, I'm very lonely. I'm not going to kill you.
And my tummy's a bit upset.
My tummy's a bit upset. Now, Carl, given the ingredients I've given you, Robert Downey Jr. has a leak. There's a dragon with an upset tummy and many animals that can commit surgery. What do you do with this material?
Okay, so as a writer, this is what I would do. I would burn the screenplay, cut the losses, kill myself. What would you do?
Weird. That's strange. I would make Robert Downey Jr. give the dragon a prostate check with a leak. I'd then make the dragon fart. The dragon then
to which all of the animals comment on the smell of the fart.
Yeah. And then the dragon would pussy fart out
She queefs
She
out.
queefs out.
She queefs out.
She queefs out a set of bagpipes.
Oh god, and I'll
And
tell you...
that's the denouement of this film. No
so
joke.
word on the street, this is all Robert Downey Jr.'s idea.
Okay, give me, because I'm not even, like, exaggerating. This has to be one of the worst worst scenes in a film. More just, like, contrast to what the rest of the film... Because the rest of it, if you just sort of talk to the dragon...
It's so off the rails.
I don't understand. Give me some context. What happened? Why?
So the ending wasn't working with audiences and was said to be too somber. Chris McKay wrote another ending.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. tore it up and was like, I've got more ideas. And this was one of them. They said that they contemplated using other items instead of bagpipes.
This was the funniest item they could come up with.
One was just a boulder of hard stool, because that would medically be accurate.
Would it be funnier? Maybe. It would
Well, a
be less...
boulder of hard stool.
Yeah.
It'd probably be like a little bit of blood or something on it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So I guess here's the thing though. Like, makes sense that it's like, oh, the dragon's eaten so many people. Like, wouldn't it be like armor or guns that come out? But I'm like, why was a person with bagpipes there?
They address that. They go, I think he has a throwaway line like he's killed the whole French army or something like that. Like,
That's it?
that's it.
Oh no. Oh god, can you imagine if somebody told you at the beginning of this movie is going to end with Robert Downey Jr. getting farted on by a dragon?
Oh god, it would have prepared me. I would have been happy that someone told me that. I would have switched it off. I was watching this on YouTube. Sorry, I paid $8 to rent this film. And I didn't use the fast forwards feature on YouTube.
You paid $8 to rent this film?
Yeah.
It's fucking on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. If you get Amazon, it's $4.99 to have Amazon Prime for a
We're
month.
not sponsored by Amazon Prime just yet. Until then, I'll be paying for YouTube.
It's a little ways until we start being like, watch Fleabag and The Boys.
We will never bow down to commercial success. Let me tell you that now.
Oh, absolutely not. Can you imagine paying us to plug a product right now? Yeah, let us do one for you. We'll do Gordon's Gin. Oh, you're pink and nice.
Don't say that one, because now they know we're drunk. We're drinking the whole time. It's just smack.
If it's not coming across to them, they've failed. The listeners failed us. This is the climax of the movie. I'll jump forward and say that the ending of Gold is a really nice, quiet, subdued moment where Matthew McConaughey gives the flower back to his estranged relationship and tries to patch things up. It's just a really nice, quiet ending as his character has evolved.
That's lovely. Because the parallels in this actually really work. That's clever. Because you see, Robert Downey Jr. goes back with a gaggle of geese, literally, to the Queen. The doctor's about to declare her dead, and I don't get it because they barge in like, stop, but like,
yeah, she's still alive.
Yeah.
They're literally they've got the finger on the pulse and they're counting down. They're like, she's gonna be dead in 10, 9. Like there's a bomb inside her.
Literally. Oh god. Anyway, the what's it called? The villain's like, hey, don't give her that fruit, and then
He's just randomly he pulls out a knife.
Yeah.
And it's like, you believe this man because he talked to a stick on the wall.
Yeah.
And then the man's like, I don't know, I've talked to ladybugs.
Silly. Anyway, the boy squeezes the juice into the Queen's mouth.
Ugh.
She survives.
Yeah, and they have like a weird catch thing.
Yeah.
And they like have a little scurry
But it's
around.
not even like
It's weird that everyone's trying to stop like the guard. He's like, guard, stop them. And I'm like, I thought the whole idea was the fact that if the Queen died, the little girl would be in charge and they can control the little girl.
Yeah, and it'd be like the French or whatever.
Yeah, but then couldn't the little girl be like, don't fucking kill Dolittle right now? Because
Yeah.
like my mum's about to die, so I'll become queen. So
Because even though you can control her, she is the queen. If she says something, then you're kind of screwed.
It's so weird. Anyway, when she wakes up, it's really odd. She like looks around and is like, stopping.
Yeah.
And then turns and Doolittle's like, I don't know whether to kiss your hand or not. And then she's like, oh, I don't know either. And then Robert Downey Jr. is like, I've got less important places to be.
Yeah.
And leaves. And the narrator's like, everything was good.
That's it. And then I checked. There's still 20 minutes left. I was like furious. Because it's like, I guess
It's a long credits.
A long
So
credit.
many people worked on the VFX and they deserve I'm sure they were abused and didn't get paid enough, and you deserve all the credit in the world for churning out a near coherent film. Near.
Anyway, we go back, and Robert Downey Jr. is like, cool. Back in your pet animals. They've had too much freedom. We're gonna get more animals.
Starts abusing them more.
Yeah. He opens a zoo.
There's shit everywhere still. He hasn't cleaned up a bit.
No.
He makes them poor meals. He's not giving them the correct diet.
Right?
Oh, it's weird. It's like, why isn't he... Like, why don't they take a more veterinary and, he rarely does anything, like, vetty.
No, that's the only thing he done given CPR to a squirrel and caught bagpipes out of a dragon's pussy. Is that...
Why do you think it's up the pussy?
Because...
It's up the butthole, isn't it?
No, I can't remember why. I think it's the vagina. I think it's a throwaway line.
Can you imagine if he had to scurry in they get the scuba suit back? And he has to scurry in and it does like an inside colon shot.
That's what I feel like the director wanted. They cut around that.
I would just absolutely refute this. If somebody was like, oh, the ending's now going to be about a dragon, I would be like, why?
Because
why?
What do you mean? We were established as
They're like, people love Game of Thrones.
It must have been that, because The Hobbit, I guess, was sort of around, Game of Thrones was around. Was that it? But they didn't advertise.
Does The Witcher have dragons?
Yeah. It's a weird...
The dragon's big at the moment.
I think they were.
This movie was a dragon.
Oh, way out.
Hey! Bringing it back around. You have anything else to say about the movie?
I wish I saw this when it first came out, because I feel like the critics had such an easy time tearing it to shreds. Dolittle, this film sure does do little with its concept.
Yep.
Dolittle, do not want to watch this little film again. Do not. Dolittle, more like Robert Downey Jr. acting a little compared to his other roles. I can go on.
Do another.
I can't go on.
I saw your notes and you only did 3. I knew it. Fucking got you.
I can cut this on the editor.
God,
goddammit.
absolutely not. Oh god, what else can we do? This movie will do little at the box office.
That's so much better than all 3 of mine. I'm not taking that. It's top one. We're gonna change it around.
I'd rather doodle with my thumbs than watch this movie.
All right, Carl. So it's ended.
It's over.
Thoughts?
Not good.
Not good.
Look, I mean, this is a worrying, terrible effort. I don't think anyone's on their A game. Looks like it's like a Frankenstein job in which it's just cut together. Scenes don't make sense. The plot doesn't make sense. You cut from all the characters have weird, unfunny little quirks. Mm-hmm. Jason Mantzoukas saves this movie. He doesn't but he's doing his best.
Every bit he's on.
They clearly knew he was good because he gets a mid-credit scene. Yeah, look, I feel like this is very low. The only compliment I'll say about it is I was able to watch this in a full sitting, which I haven't been able to do with some of the movies that I've watched.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Which is why I gave it there's a handful of little things where I'm like, it's in comparison to like The Exorcist 2.
Yeah, I think
it's like better made, but like on a different level of poor filmmaking.
It's strange like rating these ones because I feel like I would give it like a 1 and a 3, but it's not like a 3 out of 10 film. It's just like certain bits. I'm like, I can't give it a half star. I think I've given it 1.
I've given it 1.5.
Yeah,
because it genuinely it's an hour 40 and it went down easy for me. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on it?
No. I'm actually happy you've researched the stuff because just a lot of it now makes sense. I'm honestly glad this wasn't someone's vision. I'm glad it's
nobody's
40 visions that no one wanted to commit to this.
They also basically said they got the director because they were like, we're just going to surround him with like really competent people. So that clearly didn't work out. The person on Reddit also claims that the dog of the director is a racist and would sniff out anybody ethnic in the building and bark at them. The dog would also shit on the floor of the VFX studio when it was there.
They should have used that as the modelling for the shit they missed in this film. Ridiculous.
Alright, Oscar. Now that we've seen the film and witnessed Dolittle's glory, who do you think would watch this?
I have no... I tell you what I like to do with these films is I like to go on Letterboxd and look at the 5-star films of the films we've reviewed. And I think I know exactly who would watch this. Here's a 5-star review for the film. A great movie, fun, enjoyable, and kid-friendly. Not meant for those who have no sense of wonderment or have lost their inner child. Seriously, if you don't know how to have fun, don't even bother watching this movie, because you definitely won't like it. Carl, I don't think we have wonderment. And I think that's, if you don't have wonderment, don't jump into this one.
That person's gonna see fucking Harry Potter and shit themselves. They're gonna be, oh my god, who knew there could be so much wonderment in the world? Oh my god, can you imagine this is like if you don't like magical movie-going experiences that increase your sense of whimsy and just have a sense of charm and wonder and magic to it. And Dolittle's your like...
Because it's that, the sentiment's there, just not for this film.
Oh my god, I can imagine that on like The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
You know, something that like critics are divisive on but audiences love. But Dolittle!
Dolittle, that was your magical bar. That's the bar for...
How'd you even fucking make sense of it?
No.
Is that the wonderment? You know what? I'm upset. People are like, oh, I can't make sense of Tenet. And I'm like, make sense of Dolittle, you know? Like, if you pay attention, at least it's there in Tenet.
No, but here's the thing, though. You have to watch Tenet like 3 times. Would you watch Dolittle 3 times?
It's not there, though. That's the thing. It's not like it's like, oh, I now get why A and B make sense so that C connects more over here. And this is what it's... They're like, no, this is just missing letters.
Oh, tint.
It's just little. Can you imagine if it was just the modern version of this was like... Dr. Lil. Dr. Lil.
It's urban.
I love it. Lil Wayne plays Dr. Dolittle.
Goodness.
Lil Nas X and Lil Pump.
Make it work. Carl, who would watch this?
Oh, God. As a big one, I don't know why I thought it, but I said, you know who would watch this? Probably fans of Josh Gad.
Yeah,
he's not in the movie, but
his essence
is there for sure.
I hate it.
I think 5-year-olds. If I was 5, I'm sure I'd be captured by the colours. It's colourful.
It's very colourful. As a pro.
I think people that blindly love Robert Downey Jr. might give this a try.
Yeah.
Might find enjoyment in it.
I think so. I mean, most of the reviews were just loving of animals.
Yeah.
I guess if you love animals.
But they're not real animals.
No.
Can you imagine, like, I just don't... Like, Life of Pi is so good. And it has such good effects. And so much to say about animals and nature. And like... This
is a lot.
Imagine if Ang Lee did Dolittle.
Yeah, I'd say if Ang Lee directed this, I feel like everyone would be a metaphor. What do you think the polar bear would be a metaphor for?
Oh, it's bipolar.
Yeah.
He'd be a bipolar polar bear.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Jot that one down. The dog would be addicted to doggy style.
It's a sex addict.
Yeah,
sex
addict. The goose would be too loose, and so it has no bones.
I hate
its neck is dragging along the ground the whole film.
I like that you think a metaphor's rhyming.
That's what I want it to be, though. I don't need to continue with this bit. And my last one is to who would watch this. If you genuinely liked Artemis Fowl, The Spiderwick Chronicles, City of Ember, Aragon, or any children's franchise that didn't work out from the get-go, you probably will like this.
It does feel like one of those, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I really felt like... I hate this aesthetic of like... You know Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium?
A classic.
Yeah. It just screams that aesthetic, and I hate that aesthetic so
It's just
much.
long titles.
Yeah.
I hate them. Like, if this was the Voyage... I would drop this a half star if it was called The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle. I think Dolittle's too long. Make it little, or make it dual.
I like how they just took out some words.
Yeah.
Like do-lit. Do-lit.
I like if they just took out random words, so it was just Voyage of Doctor. Just no selling point to the movie.
And get rid of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Just a couple of animals, though.
I'm convinced the budget's so big, Robert Downey Jr. is a CGI creation for the film, and they're just telling people he starred in it.
It's $175 million.
Oh, God. Anyway, I think the reason behind the ADR is the fact that the original voice that he used wasn't working and they didn't like it.
Are you actually joking?
Yeah.
Drop us in the who would watch this.
Yeah, so they then went back and he had to ADR'd all of his lines
His
and
Welsh.
thus... But because he changed his inflections due to the accent, it doesn't match his lips. So it meant that's why he has his back turned, or they use it off
That's
screen,
incredible.
or simply it's just slightly out of sync.
So he actually didn't have this accent, and they were like,
I think he had a similar accent, but they needed to change it.
I thought it was Scottish sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe he was going for
I think
that.
they just patched it up throughout
Yeah.
the thing. A weird creative choice. Like, just do Sherlock Holmes accent, or better not. Why is he British? Why does he have to be British? Be American.
it'd
He's
be fun.
American, isn't he? Yeah, he's American.
He's American, yeah.
Just be American. I love how he was like, the cinematic Marvel universe didn't get to flex my acting chops. Dolittle might do it. No.
And that's Dolittle.
It is. You got a sequel pitch?
I just wrote, I think it's a prequel. Well, Dolittle's a prequel to We Bought a Zoo. Your favourite film.
It's not my favorite film. I just think it's underrated.
4 stars.
I think it gets shut on because it has a bad title, but it has a nice father-son relationship and is a wholesome Cameron Crowe film. I think
The
it's Cameron
poster
Crowe.
is a zebra with a bow on its head.
Oh my god, that's a fucking cute poster. Try and tell me that's not a cute poster. If this poster was little cheeky Jason Mantzoukas mosquito with a little bow, I'd fucking buy this movie. Disney's asking us to pay $35 for Mulan at the moment. I'd pay $35 for Dolittle if it was Jason Mantzoukas with a little bow on his head. A high recommendation. High recommendation for, you know what, the industry's fucking relying on me as marketing. I've lost the plot. Fuck it. I hate it. And I hate you, Disney. My sequel idea is it should be called Dr. Do-More, and it's just more of everything.
Double the animals. Double Roberts.
It's if it's one bagpipe, it's 2. If it's one dragon, it's 2. If it's Robert Downey Jr., boom, he's got a twin. Just more of everything. I want 2 apprentices. I want double the budget. I want this to be the most expensive.
Could you imagine if they paid $350 million on this?
My other thing was simply just get the script for Garfield 2, A Tale of Two Kitties, and just do that.
Is Robert Downey Jr. the twin?
Yeah.
Does he have a richer second one?
I know he's deceased, but if they somehow brought Tim Curry back from the dead to play his twin.
Tim Curry's dead?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Hang on. I don't want to do a falsified fact. Let me check. He's alive.
Oh, thank God. Thank fucking God, you lying son of a bitch. I knew damn well. I'm very up to date with Tim Curry news, and the fact that you'd fucking try and say the man's dead, you cowards. The great thing about this, is now we can do the sequel to Dolittle, which is Robert Downey Jr., Tim Curry, doing a Garfield 2 spoof. Carl's in shambles. Oh my God.
I think there's any reason to me. I just thought he was deceased.
What did you think?
He must have been ill at some point.
Alright, how do we end this? I feel like I'm gonna fade it out on
Oh
the
god,
bit-
we've got
on the laugh.
we'll do a palate cleanser.
palate
We've got a palate cleanser.
Right, cool.
You watched a compelling Blumhouse film.
I did. I watched Fantasy Island.
Yeah. Now that you've seen it, I questioned whether or not it could be a Scooby-Doo film.
Oh
Thoughts?
yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's the like the hacker slasher of Scooby-Doo films.
Yeah.
It's like Spooky Island.
It's
Fantasy
exactly
Island.
like
Yeah.
Spooky Island. It's a weird film because it's genuinely has some comedic beats and then others where it's like not. It's weird.
I think they get it's a horror. I don't know why.
I don't think that's trying to be a
No.
horror. I
Do you
think
know
they just
what-
marketed
do you know
it
what's
as one.
based as?
Yeah, off of the Fantasy Island television
Yeah.
show, which is like Twilight-ish.
Yeah, it's
So it's like some episodes were horror-ish, some were mystery. Like it's not.
yeah.
So it's very weird.
I don't
And
know.
like a lot of the actors in it are just comedic sitcom actors.
Yeah, Michael Pena's the villain.
But is he?
No, not really. I think it's technically
It's really wild. It's
really
a wild
weird. Yeah,
film.
I'd say to review it, but I don't know.
I don't think there's a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
I honestly I think it's fun enough.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think that's the thing. I mean, it's pretty bad, but I don't think it. I don't know. It's someone wanted to make it.
Yeah, there's a whole subplot with the two brothers that are like stepbrothers, and one's gay and one's not, and they're just living out a great fantasy of being mobsters. And I thought that was like a fun, funny subplot.
Oh yeah, honestly, basing it off the movie, I think their story plot points 4 stars. Everyone else is like a half star. But
it's pretty. That's a wild film.
Yeah, I'm just confused. Go watch it. It's very strange. 2020 is like that might get nominated for an Oscar.
So what's a better film?
Better film than Fantasy Island.
No, what's better, Dolittle or Fantasy Island?
I think Fantasy Island. I mean, Doolittle's like not painful, but just awkward and weird. Fantasy Island you can enjoy, but I mean, like it's such a weird one because it's like it starts off with like independent stories and it all comes tying together, and then it doesn't really.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're doing a horror film, I don't think you're like. But again, I don't really. It's got weird action. Like it's not horror-ish.
No,
it's so like I feel like they decided to market it as one because it doesn't fit many genres.
No, and then it's sort of like there's just these. There's like 2 scenes where it's horror.
Yeah.
But most of it's like guns sort of stuff.
Nobody really like dies.
No, except for Michael Rourke.
Yeah.
He jumps off a cliff. And the, I mean, he comes back to life, but honestly, genuinely upset when
he died. Yeah. And I went, oh, I don't know what's going on now.
No.
But it's like most of it's shot during the day in nice, lush like locations.
Yeah.
Like it's so, I don't know. Like
there's so many scenes that I'm like, did you just put that in there so you could edit the trailer around? Like they've got like this underground torture chamber, the blood coming down the nose.
Like it feels each one's episodic. It really doesn't coalesce in a smart way whatsoever.
No. And then it's a bit of a twist that one of them is the villain, but you kind of go, why are you in this film then?
Yeah.
You're a very big
actor.
actor.
You're like, well, you doing her plot makes no sense now that she's revealed to be the villain.
Yeah.
Anyway, weird. On another note, I watched Milan.
Oh yeah, Carl?
Yeah. It's very mediocre and soulless and boring.
Did you pay $35 for it?
Yes.
Oh no, what a hit to your bank account. But just give us a bit of a rundown.
Look, there's not like a lot that's particularly terrible about it. It's just so boring. It's just like because it's got none of like the comedic beats of like the original. It's again 30 minutes longer than the original. Mushu's not in it, and the music's not in it. And also, it was like going into it, I feel like I'd read that like they'd turn the musical numbers into the score, so it plays in the background. But the score's not very good, and then that music really doesn't play into it. Milan never really loses or overcomes anything. She's also got chi, so she's also got kind of like a weird special ability. Okay. And it's not like she achieves chi, she's like born with it, or she doesn't like learn to control it. It's like she just has it. And you know how I'll make a man out of you, it's like she's slowly getting better.
Exactly, it's a great montage.
In this, it's like she doesn't get better. She gets like at the top of a hill and she wasn't even in the montage. Like there's also no consequences, nobody dies, blah blah blah. Like it's just really
what they filled because they've taken out the songs, which is quite a bit of Mulan. So
I'm sure that's like 15 minutes of songs is probably that main one.
It's like 7 songs.
And honestly, it's some of Disney's best songs.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know why you would do it. I know why Disney did it. They're trying to appeal to the Chinese audience. But I'm like, China has really good Mulan films that are like MA, that are about war.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Disney's bringing to their story.
Is it just the budget or just the Disney name? Is that all they're bringing?
I guess, but even then, I think this movie feels very small in terms of none of the locations feel lived in. Mm-hmm. And the opening location, it's like she's at the village, she's at the place where they do they learn how to fight.
Yep.
They're at a war. she's not at the war, and then they're at the city. And so I'm like, your major blockbuster movie has like 5 like main locations. Makes it feel so small, and there's no sense of time. It's like at the end when she comes back and she's like, oh, like, and they're like, oh, we've missed you and blah. And I'm like, it feels like you've been gone a week.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't feel like you got better at fighting. And there just should be like more extras. I remember this I think was supposed to be directed by Ang Lee, but they couldn't wait for him to finish the other movie he was working on.
Was that Gemini Man?
Maybe. I think it might have been.
Yeah.
But it's also like he would have made such a nice looking film. Like I know he loves his CGI, but he also loves like settings.
Yeah.
And things like that. Like it would have looked so grand and so nice. And there's nice shots in it. And I like this director. She did Whale Rider, which is a New Zealand film that I really like. But yeah, I don't know, there's just like there's like not a lot to enjoy about it. I don't think it warrants like its existence, which I think is a shame because Mulan I think is one of the like probably like top 7 like best of the animated
the Disney sort of animated
Disney musicals.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So I don't know, I think it's a shame.
It seems like they're sort of following a trend of just all of them sort of come out and go,
yeah.
Why? Like, there's just no reason for their existence.
Well, I mean, it's
money.
like Lion King. I thought was like I think it just goes to show that like like I mean, it's like you wouldn't do the Aladdin movie without the music or the genie.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels like they did that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I think the best ones Disney have done are like The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I'd only say really Jungle Book I really enjoyed it. The rest I'm pretty shaky on.
Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast in general.
Fair.
So I like that adaptation.
Well, that's good.
And I like that doesn't like I mean I like the fact that the Jungle Book takes liberties because that's a very short story and short like an hour-long movie. So they get to pad that out with proper stuff. And then I kind of like the fact that Beauty and the Beast is like this like fairy tale brought to life without many changes sort of thing.
Cool, yeah.
And then have you seen Aladdin or not?
No, I haven't.
Like Aladdin's not very good, and then once Will Smith gets into it, I actually do think it really picks up.
It's good.
The effects are really good, and the musical numbers are fun. So, like, that's still a fun watch.
Yeah.
For me, there's and it has an element of charm.
Fair enough, but like, is there any reason? Are any of them better than their predecessors?
I mean, I think the Jungle Book is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think the Jungle Book's a really good adaptation. And I mean, no. But they make a lot of money.
They do. They make a disgusting amount of money.
Yeah.
Lion King made $2 billion, which is crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Considering it's like not a good film.
No.
So yeah. Anyway, that was my palate cleanse. I mean, it's better than this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's a coherent.
Oh, they're all. But that's the thing. They're all perfect 5 out of 10s. Well, I mean, as a blanket statement, there's some that are better and some that are worse. But
yeah. Anyway, so that's me. Anyway, let's go. What are we going to be reviewing next week?
Next week, we're going to be reviewing Pluto Nash.
The classic Eddie Murphy film that lost a ton of money, and he's a little space alien, and he's on adventures.
It's going to be fun. I'm keen.
Yeah, I know pretty little about it other than the title and the fact it's a bomb. So I'm keen on a watch.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Carl.
All right. Thanks, Oscar. Alright guys, thank you for listening. Tell your friends about us. Maybe one day we'll read out your weather. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube.
And if you have a film you'd like us to review or questions you'd like to ask, email us at askwwwtpodcast@gmail.com.
You can leave us 5 stars on iTunes or any sort of praise anywhere. It helps new listeners find us and our egos grow.
Alternatively, don't do anything and see if we care.
Yep, ball's in your court.
Thanks for listening.
See you next week.